Have you ever wanted Dwindle inside of MangoWM? I know a lot of people in the community have. I can't share the same sentiment, but as a Linux member or member of the Linux community, I do love it when developers take the time to cater to the community. So what DreamMaoMao has done, and it looks like special thanks to Ernesto Cruz here, what they've done is they've added Dwindle into Mango. Now, is this for me? No, I don't use it. But like I said, a lot of people in the community do like this. And I've heard people say the only thing that holds them back that's switching from X to Mango is that it's missing that mode. So let's go over that a little bit. So let me go ahead. Right now I'm in center tile. Let me go ahead and switch over to the dwindle mode. And, just like all the other dwindling layouts that bunch of different window managers have, it behaves the same way. You open up a second window, it splits it in half, it splits that into half, and fits next to half and the next to half. Almost like the Fibonacci series, but not quite there. But it's just splitting it in half, vertical, horizontal, and goes back and forth. So that's what this is. So let me go ahead and close these out because they're not for me. And so that's what Dwindle is. It's now been added. There's a new couple layouts. So let me show you what my config looks like here. And so there's a couple different things here. I haven't quite played with this too much, but this here will determine how you split. So if you put this to 33, so let me show you guys that here real quick. Let me do this to 33, save it. And so what happens is if when you split this in dwindle mode, it stays at 33%, right? And so this one here is going to be 33%. So if you notice, it's kind of doing that percentage. So that's how this works. And it's actually kind of like that now. I'm going to keep it like this. That's what that does. Default is 0.5. And so if I, go back here and do this and refresh and go back to dwindle mode, it's going to always split in half. So just keep that in mind, is that the ratio that is here is what remains on the window that you're kind of on. So keep that in mind. Smart split, I haven't quite used this quite yet. Same with these two. But this is sort of what I've kind of gone with, and it's been working for how I will use Dwindle. But once again, I just want to be honest, I'm not a fan of Windows, so this is why I don't use it. But it's not about me. Just want to showcase that it's here now and some of the different options you do need to add here. And yeah, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to help you guys out if you guys have any issues with this. So let me go ahead and continue. And let me go into 13.1. Now, actually, there was another change that came in here too, is that tgmix is now gone. So what was tgmix? So if I go to tiling, what tgmix was a mixture of tile and grid together. So the minute you were in 3 or less windows, so this is 3 or less, you'll be in tiling mode. But the minute you added a 4th window, you would automatically be transferred over to grid mode. And so that's sort of what this did here. Now, one thing I want to say about grid that was added in, I believe it was 13.0, was that you can now resize this. Before, you couldn't resize this at all in grid mode. So now you could do that. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, so tgmix, as soon as you had 4 or more windows, you would be in grid mode, and this is sort of what it looked like. And then the minute you went down to 3, it will go back into tiling mode. And so that has been taken off. That's one of the modes that I use the most. The 3 that I used the most was center tile, because I really like it when you have this here. This is normally how you will see me. Now, mind you, I'm zoomed in a little bit here just for the video, but this is how I work. And of course I could, adjust this and whatnot. I have videos about that, so I'm not going to cover that here, but there's things you could adjust. And then the other one, of course, is scrolling mode, because this allows me to do this. And then of course I could go ahead and grab these and stack them as much as I want and, kind of go from there. So those are usually and then tgmix was the other one. That's how I function. So I was a little bummed out with 13.0 because I was like, man, I really missed that mode. But once again, DreamMaoMao has been amazing at responding to the community. I know a few people on the Discord were, probably saying the same thing. And next thing you know is he releases fair layout. And so there's one new layout inside of 13.0, but it removed tgmix, and then 13.1 added 2 new layouts. There's fair and vertical fair. I'm not going to go into vertical fair because that's more for vertical layouts, but it's the same thing, but just for vertical modes. Maybe I will show it. We'll see. So I showed you guys the Dwindle and the tgmix a little bit. And one of the problems with tgmix, or grid mode, I should say, because it's more, that's when you're in grid mode. So when you're in 5 windows, you have space over here and over here that was just kind of sitting around doing nothing. So unless you had 6 windows, of course. So what this new mode does is kind of helps out with that a little bit. So let me start off with um, 1 window. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and switch over to fair. And we're going to do is open up a second window. So this looks no different than tiling, right? So if I go tiling, it looks there. And if I go back to fair, it looks like this. And once we add our third window, it's still similar to tiling, no different. When we add our fourth window, now if I had tgmix, this is exactly like tgmix so far. I have 4 windows. This is no different than grid, except that the priority or the order number is a little bit different. So let me go back into fair. And what changes, remember what I said about grid, when you add a 5th window, you got that space. What changes inside of fair is that when you add a 5th window, my core window or my main master window is going to be 1, and then my 4 new windows are going to be split into 4. So what do I mean by that? Is exactly this. So here's my main window, here's my 4 windows, and so let's do C matrix here, and let's do ASCII word up here. And so if I make this my main, it goes over there. If I make this my main, it goes over there. If I make this one my main, it goes over there, right? So that's kind of how that functions. Now, to me, I really, really like this because one of the modes that I like is this here, right? This is my favorite mode, the center tiling, where I could adjust and still have my kind of like quadrants on the side. And so now with fair mode, I have this in here. And to me, this is really, really kick-ass. Like, I personally like it. So thank you, DreamMaoMao, for releasing this mode, because this is by far my new favorite mode. As a matter of fact, all my tags are now set this. So my tag rules is like automatically will go into, or layout rules will automatically go into this mode. That's my default. So I really, really like it. Now, where it does kind of change a little bit. And so let's talk about more windows, right? This is 5. 6 windows looks like this. I am on an ultra wide, so it kind of helps out a little bit. Once again, this is no different than grid, other than some window priorities. But when you add a 7th window, this is where it's very interesting because it's 2, 2, 3. And if I add yet another window, it's going to be 2, 3, 3. Now, on the 9th window, this is where I found it very interesting, is because I expected 3, 3, 3, and it does, right? And so check this out. We think we have the pattern, but the minute we hit 10, we no longer in 3, 3, 3, we go 2, 2, 3, 3. That's pretty cool. I really like that a lot. And then we go into 2, 3, 3, 3, and then 3, 3, 3, 3, and then same thing here is if we add a 5th window, everything's looking good. And then things change again because now we're 3, 3, 3, 4, 4. So yeah, super interesting mode. I personally really, really like this. This is sort of my new default. I usually don't go more than 6 windows inside of a layout or a tag. And if I do, it's because I'm in scrolling mode and, then I'm doing more of this here and just kind of moving around. But for the most part, I really don't do that. So this is the most I'll ever get into. And most of the time, I'm more like this. So this is 7 and by far the most that I will ever have. And, of course, you could do adding masters and stuff like that, but we're not going to get into that. There's other videos that I posted about this. So whew, I wish you guys enjoyed. So if you have any questions, as always, post them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. By the way, support your FOSS developers. DreamMaoMao has done really great, and kind of doing this for free. So if you have any way to donate, I will highly recommend you donate to this man. He's done amazing. I'm gonna do this myself. I don't have any crypto, but I'm about to purchase that just so I can make donations. So with that said, thank you everyone. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one.